Now the other solution I thought up, which I took inspiration from the Jeep world, is that they have these threaded ball mounts that you can use in different applications throughout the Jeep. So what I did is I took a look at this grab handle. There's one on each side, passenger and driver. Though I'm no spring chicken, I don't really need this bar. So I decided to pull this apart, which, like that, comes right off. And I took a look to see what we have here, and it's a 10 millimeter that I removed, and I'll show you what I find behind it. So what I found here is that we have these little metric bolts here. You got a little bit of a standoff on them, and there you go, a little out of focus. Pulled that, and as I took a look, we have some mounting. Let's see if I can get the light right. It's a little off, but anyway, these two mounting holes here from the grab handle. So I took a look through the catalog. I took the bolts over to local Ace Hardware and figured out that they're M6. And then lo and behold, when I researched the ram mount catalog, I found out that they had these little guys here. So this has the matching thread, 6 mil. It turns out that I was hoping to have a little bit longer of a bolt here because I know I was going to be cutting it close, but this was the only thing I could find in this size on the market that they had. And I always figured that, knowing using these before, I knew that if I had to you know, shave this down to expose a little bit more of the bolt just to get in there, that would be a good solution. But it turned out that it's just long enough, I'm going to do it here with one hand, to grab a few threads, and let me use my dominant hand here. Squeeze it in there, and it just grabs just enough threads to mount really firm, real sturdy. Of course, I bought two. So this one will go in there right as well. Just give it a little push, and it's going to grab a hand, like maybe 3 threads, it feels like, in there, and gives you 2 really solid mounts. I mean, this is quite epic. Unlike the cup holder, which I mentioned earlier, give it a little shake and it's going to come out. These aren't going anywhere. So I was pretty stoked on that, because I can pretty much take the existing pieces I had here and here and mount them right to that, which I'm going to use both my hands to do that, and I'll show you in a second. Now that's mounted up, it's really sturdy. You have lots of choices of how you can kind of go about it. There's lots of adjustability. You'll find that this ball mount on the back is offset, so if you flip the unit upside down, you could then have a little bit more adjustability. But as you'll see, this thing's really sturdy. And like here now, I can show you with one hand, which is ideal, how this mount works. So it's spring loaded here, and if you flip this upside down, then it'll just work in reverse. You push down the bottom, drop the phone in. Here I have it facing right side up. One, I just wanted you to be able to see ram mount quick grip very easily. But in this application, it doesn't matter to me. So you can just take your phone, feed it in there, lift it up, drop it. And now you have these little arms around here and here that are grabbing the phone, and it's not going to go anywhere. And that's really sturdy. Now what I did is I had it a little closer to the steering wheel, so in actuality, if I have to, you know, just give it a quick tap or get out of something, unlock it, anything like that, I could easily do that without really removing my hands. Now you could also swing this over this way, so it's a little bit more in your field of view, and you're not taking your eyes off the road. Excuse the messy garage, I will fix that later. But yeah, I'm really stoked with this. I'm pretty much not going to move forward with this mount. I'll probably take it out and use it somewhere else, and then I'll get a cup holder back again, which is fine, but I can always drop comms in that or whatever else I want to put in that, because now I gotta, you know, get around the phone with a cup, and I actually kind of like that cup holder. So sorry, I ran out of battery there for the GoPro. Fix that. So yes, so this is going to be my preferred option. But what you also get going this route is you get an extra mount location. So if you liked your phone up higher, you could do that. I'm probably going to use this for a radio mount for various comms, or if my comms is going to be in the headliner, I could put a mic mount here. or even the GoPro mount, which I will probably show you at some point. But these arms here, which I use the 6-inch, they make these in several different lengths. So you can drop a little small arm here to have a little bit more articulation or more of a direct mount setup. But I like this option. I don't need the grab handle on this side, so for me, this is the way to go. I thought about doing it on the passenger side. However, when my in-laws travel with us, or anyone of more advanced age than myself, that handle gets used. So I think I'm going to leave that there. I know in a lot of our builds in the past, we have put mounts for the passengers so they can either mount their phone or mount an iPad for viewing. I'll figure out that in a little bit. The other thing you can use while leaving the handle from Ram Mount is they have grips that can then clamp onto that grab handle, and you can use that as a temporary mount for an iPad if you need that for a road trip. But for me, this system here is what I really like, and I really have been using this. I used the cup holder one for a couple months, and then once I figured out this solution, I've had that for maybe 2 months now, and it's the way to go. Like, I'm not looking back as far as I'm concerned. Check box, that's done. That works for me. In a second, I'm going to show you one other thing that I did. I figured out that it was an adaptation that we've done with Ram Mount for one of our earlier builds, a Tundra, is our quick track system, and I'll show you that in a second. So another mount solution that I just got done mentioning is the Ram Track. And I always try and find some place to utilize these and put them in because they're super helpful. I really wanted to do it across the whole dash, from the center of the dash to the driver's side, although I can't or haven't investigated enough on how to gain access to the back side of the dash, the underside, without making it drama and dismantling. Something I didn't want to get into. So what I did was this. As you can see, this is the key pocket or spare change or things you throw in here and forget about until they annoy you from jiggling around. But so what I did is I just jumped in here. I'm gonna again attempt to do this with one hand. This pops up from the rear, so you get that in the back, get in there, get a grip, just give it a lift from the nose of the vehicle to the back, and it pops right out. And this is the access for the Sync 4 unit, and just held in with clips. So what I did is I took this, I'm gonna set it right here as I try to juggle all this, and I just took one of these, I believe this is a 9-inch Ram Track. It's aluminum. They have this aluminum, they have them in plastic, and they have it in black and brushed aluminum. Of course, I just want the black because it looks good, but it fits perfectly in this pocket. So next thing I did, I like to be able to see behind things before I drill. And there's not a whole lot of room. I'm going to try to spin this camera around under here for mounting the back end of hardware. But what I did see in this pocket here is it has these little standoffs, 1, 2, and 3 little standoffs. And I thought, hey, I was like, you know what? That's already space that's being used for those standoffs, so I'm going to utilize that and find some hardware that fits inside of that little guy. There he is in there. And use that section. So of course, you know, the mount holes for the rail don't exactly match up to that, so I did have to use a drill to drill out this mount location and this mount location, but lined up the center one and then just indexed off of that for the other two. Now it's hard bolted on, and the nuts aren't going to have any clearance issues when you put this back. So you slide this back in, again, one-handed tricks, click, 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 and it's actually pretty sturdy. I actually, before I started rolling the camera, I went to pull this out from the front because I didn't quite remember how I did it, and when it gave me some resistance, I backed off and grabbed my little tool here and pulled it from the back, and it comes right out. But what that does is that because you're mounting on this front side, which isn't the release point, is that it's really sturdy. So you could use it as a phone mount. I'm probably going to use it for cameras. So if we want to mount a forward-looking GoPro or both forward and rear-looking GoPros for conversations while we're driving, to do videos and things like that, or just to record the scenery, it's a really good solution. And then this item is also from Ram Mount. I think I can get this out without taking that. Perfect. So really cool. These balls are made to use with their tracks. So you have tons of adjustability, slides right in there. Give it a little turn and it tightens up, so you can place that anywhere you want, or place several along the chain. Earlier I mentioned that I was hoping to do a very long mount. I don't know if it was like 18-inch mount. I was hoping to go from here all the way to about halfway down the steering wheel is flat. And I only know that because I have one of these in aluminum that's that long, and there was no air gap as it sat. It sat here perfectly level. But the problem is I can't gain access, or I haven't tried hard enough to figure out how to gain access to see what's behind here. And I know some people may not be terribly concerned about drilling into a dash, and you could use self-tappers. It's a brand new van. I'm not afraid of taking sawzalls to new vehicles. We've done it before in the past. However, the dash isn't very easy to replace. So I didn't feel good about doing self-tappers in there. And honestly, I want a robust hold. And if I'm going to have a track that long, I want to be able to use it for a lot of things. And if there's a lot of things on it, it's more weight, I'm going to need more hold. And I just didn't feel comfortable doing it. So this little guy is nice. One, I knew going into it I could replace this if I needed to. Turned out working awesome. It's going to be a nice little spot to mount our cameras. I'll list those part numbers in the comments as well, or description, whatever the cool kids are saying nowadays, and get that in there so you guys can find where to use that. Super easy. The hardware I just picked up at Ace Hardware. I just went and found the smallest bolts washers I could find that would work in that solution, and that's what I ended up using. With that ball, you can still use all the usual mounts. This is what I had on there from Ram Mount. You'll see if you go to their website, it's going to be dizzying the amount of options and things you can build. I mean, they're Tinker Toys. There's tons you can use, infinite amounts of options and lengths and materials. So anyway, that's my solution thus far for the mounts that I have used. I'm looking at doing a few other things here in the near future. So as I get those, I'll just update the video later if I do up any more solutions. I want to do something for the passenger side that I mentioned that I haven't done yet, but for now this is working out for me perfecto. So anyway, thanks a lot, and we'll catch you guys later.